2024 has come to an end, and with that I had one simple question in my mind. What were the most remarkable, memorable and interesting blindfolded speedruns this year? As every year, countless blindfolded speedrunners have challenged themselves to beat games that have never been beaten before without sight, or improve runs to lengths that were thought of as impossible before. Therefore, I have created a little list of blindfolded runs from 2024 that I personally found extremely interesting, and I thought that I would share it with you today in this video. Quick disclaimer, this is a personal list in no particular order, so you should take all of these achievements on the same level, and even more importantly, there are countless other amazing blindfolded runs that have been performed this year, but I simply cannot list them all. If you miss any blindfolded run that you enjoyed this year, feel free to share them in the comments. And with that, let's dive right into it. Number 1. Tears of the Kingdom, the race for any percent blindfolded. One of the biggest game releases of 2023 was the new Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom. Considering there have been blindfolded speedruns of previous titles in the series, especially Breath of the Wild, it is not too surprising that players would take up the challenge and try to beat Tears of the Kingdom as well, while entirely blindfolded. Thankfully, the game is extremely broken, and very close after release, major glitches have already been found that allowed speedrunners to basically go straight to the final boss after the initial tutorial section, which is called the Great Sky Islands. There, you need to beat 4 shrines to get new abilities, and right afterwards you glitch straight to the final boss. The first person to beat the game blindfolded was no other than the legendary blindfolded speedrunner Saver. This happened at the end of 2023 on the 19th November with a final time of 2 hours and 17 minutes. Saver was not satisfied with just one run though, and after refining some strategies and getting in more practice, he smashed the sub-hour milestone in December 2023. But we would not be talking about the best blindfolded speedruns of 2024 if that was the end of the story. What is even more interesting than Saver's immense blindfolded skills is what happened next. In May 2024, a familiar name took the world record from Saver. One of the most talented and popular visual speedrunners of both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom has decided to give blindfolded any percent a try. Player 5. And to say the least, the results were astounding. All the visual experience in the game gave Player 5 a huge advantage, and after picking up specific blindfolded strats, he managed to beat Saver's world record by 17 whole minutes. This is still not the end of the story though. Over the next few days, both Saver and Player 5 were racing for the blindfolded any percent world record, implementing more and more risky strats and developing new techniques in a friendly competition. Just 3 days after Player 5 got the world record, Saver snatched it back, once again by a huge margin of 12 whole minutes. Player 5 was not done either though. Just 4 days after Saver's new world record, Player 5 again crushed it by yet another 6 minutes with a final time of 1 hour and 12 minutes. And just 1 day later, Player 5 set yet another world record in 1 hour and 7 minutes. In the meanwhile, Saver was busy practicing and refining the run for a potential sub 1 hour run, just like back in the days when running Breath of the Wild. And 18 days after the last world record, Saver set a new one with a time of 1 hour and 5 minutes. While this is not technically a sub 1 hour run, it kind of is, as the game has an extremely long intro cutscene in the beginning. Saver called it a sub-hour of gameplay, and was satisfied with the result. And this is where the world record still stands today, half a year later. Amazing competition and race for the record between these two players, which is really rare in blindfolded speedruns as we usually only have like one top runner in a given game. Their grind even inspired YouTuber Point Crowd to learn and finish the entire game while blindfolded. Really amazing story and huge GGs to both of them. Number 2. Pokemon Emerald, Battle Factory by LRXC. Oh boy, here comes a big one. Pokemon Emerald has to be one of the most popular entries in the Pokemon franchise. And today I want to introduce you to what probably has become my personal most favorite blindfolded speedrun of all time. The player named LRXC has committed to an enormous challenge this year. He wanted to get the gold symbol in Pokemon's Battle Factory while blindfolded. What does it mean? Don't worry, I was also 100% clueless when I first checked into LRXC's streams. The Battle Factory is an endgame challenge in which you consecutively fight Pokemon trainers with a set of given Pokemons that you first have to draft. And after each win, you can choose one of the Pokemons that you have fought and replace one of your existing team members with the new one if wanted. The gold symbol is rewarded after 42 consecutive wins in this format. Doesn't sound too bad? Let's think about this again. You have a team of random Pokemon. There are random enemies with random types. You are blindfolded and all you hear is... Wait, what Pokemon do I have? What Pokemon does the opponent have? Let me try to do an attack. Wait, what was that attack? Was it me or the enemy attacking? How does my health look like now? Will I survive another turn? Should I switch out? Do you understand why this challenge is so incredibly huge now? Each trainer has 3 Pokemon, and you need to win 42 battles consecutively. This is a massive undertaking. This is not a speedrun one can simply decide to run because you like Pokemon. This is a run that only the highest class of experts can even start to attempt. And LRXC is one of those experts. And it took him months of sheer memorization practice to remember every single Pokemon cry, every single moveset of each Pokemon, every single possible stat of each Pokemon, and every single attack sound in order to distinguish attacks from enemies. LRXC used some amazing memorization techniques, like for example the moveset for Muk. Muk in round 2 is memorized as CRSD, as it sounds like cursed, reminding LRXC that curse is the first, and then the moveset is a set of letters: Curse, Rest, Sludge Bomb, Dynamic Punch. Furthermore, creative techniques have to be used in order to get information you would otherwise not have while blindfolded. Let us for example take a simple example of HP. In Pokemon you can distinguish 3 different states of health: green health, yellow health, and red health. For blindfolded, you can kind of only be certain that you are in the green in the beginning of the battle. And you can heal once you reach the red if you are lucky enough to actually survive the attack. But there is more. LRXC found out that by opening the summary of a Pokemon mid-battle, the Pokemon cry will actually be in a slightly lower pitch once it enters the yellow range. This can be used for further decision making because you could potentially survive one more turn when you are still in the green, but rather would play defensively if you are in the yellow. These are just the very basics of this run, and I could literally fanboy all day over this and give you even more specifics, but we will keep that for another day. After months of grinding, LRXC finally pulled off the run on 26th of April 2024. And here comes the special surprise which makes this whole ordeal even more impressive. The final runtime was 9 hours and 19 minutes. 9 whole hours of fully focused calculations and memorizations in your head of every single Pokemon cry, every single Pokemon attack, and recalling every speed set of each opponent, figuring out strategies on the fly based off what the opponent does, and any single mistake, any misidentified Pokemon will immediately result in death. Absolutely incredible work, and in my opinion, one of the most impressive blindfolded speedruns that I have ever seen in my life. Definitely my personal best blindfolded speedrun of 2024. Number 3. Super Mario 64, the sub 20 grind in 16 star. I was unsure if I should include this one, as it is one of my own achievements, but honestly, it is probably the single best blindfolded speedrun that I've ever performed in my life, and it shocked not only the blindfolded but the entire speedrunning community altogether, so it would be a shame to not include it in the 2024 list. In January 2024, I set out on a journey that everyone, including myself, thought of as absolutely impossible. I wanted to prove that I can get a sub 20 minute time in the already heavily optimized 16 star category in Super Mario 64. Now, the catch is that sub 20 is a milestone that is usually difficult to achieve for beginners of the game visually. In order to achieve such a goal, I had to rethink and optimize the entire blindfolded route, taking new risks which results in ton of resets, all for time saves in the 1 or 2 second range. The biggest change to the route was the introduction of the infamous LBLJ, a visual pro strat that lets you glitch into the first Bowser stage early. There, you can attempt the even more difficult red coin star, which can be used in order to skip an entire stage, Cool Mountain. For that, we need to take one more risk though, which is the logless star. An incredibly precise trick with a success window of only 2 frames, and usually reserved for high-level visual runners. Combining all of this, the new route would save around 30 to 40 seconds over the old one. When I started this whole journey, the world record was a time of 22 minutes and 22 seconds. So in order to get a sub 20, I would still need to improve many other things. And after 10 months of relentless grinding every single day, coming up with new strategies, new time saves and new risks, finally, on the 2nd October 2024, it happened. I have improved the world record multiple times during this year, and it all led up to this single run. There were some tiny hiccups here and there, but at the end I clutched it out with a final time of 19 minutes and 43 seconds. This was by far the most difficult blindfolded grind that I have ever attempted, and I think it will stay that way for quite a while. Jokes are going around that I could potentially reach a sub 19 in the future, as my sum of best is currently at around 18.5 minutes. But it is of course ridiculous to play perfect in such an optimized speedrun for such a long time. That is why I now move on first to 70 and then 120 star, and very likely return for the sub 19 after I get even better at the game, to crush it once and for all. Let's see what the future will bring with that. Blindfolded Players of the Year Award. Next up, we do not have a specific run, but rather a section about a specific runner. And I really couldn't make up my mind who I want to choose for Blindfolded Player of the Year, so screw it. It is my video and I make the rules. I will just give the award to 2 runners. Let me first introduce you to my first choice of Blindfolded Speedrunner of the Year, Livy Ladouceur. Livy has been working non-stop on new and challenging blindfolded projects, beating a ton of new categories and games, as well as crushing many long-standing world records by other players. Let me give you a quick speedrun through Livy's achievements this year. It started with a full Pokemon Red glitchless blindfolded run in January, in which Livy got an impressive time of 2 hours, 34 minutes and 16 seconds, which is just barely behind the current world record of Shifty. Pokemon Red takes an immense amount of memorization, as every step, every move, everything needs to be perfectly memorized. That was not all for January though. Only 2 weeks later, Livy beat a blindfolded world record in the cult classic The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. The category was Master Sword Unrestricted, which is a category with the goal of obtaining the Master Sword as fast as possible with all glitches allowed. And only 1 week later, yet another game and yet another world record. This time the 2D platformer Donkey Kong Country on the SNES. Livy beat the world record of the All Stages category, which is a whole bunch longer and more difficult than the Any% version of the run. Then, Livy took a short break by actually joining the Tears of the Kingdom Any% race that I was talking about earlier. Livy was very active in the beginning of the race, where the runners were still trying to figure out routes for the beginning section of the run, the Great Sky Islands. Then, when the other runners moved on to the full Any% run, Livy finished one speedrun in around 2.5 hours and was satisfied with that, letting Saver and Player 5 the race to themselves. After that, Livy got a very deserved break, in which she could focus on improving and learning more in A Link to the Past. That practice break would last until September 2024, where Livy came back with a shocking run. A Link to the Past 100%. All items, all heart containers, everything. There was already a run of this category back in 2017 by blindfolded legend Parisian Player, but Livy managed to cut the world record time by more than 3 hours, with a final time of 5 hours and 39 minutes. In October, Livy went back to Donkey Kong Country and beat her own world record by yet another 20 minutes, before going full ham on various prestigious Pokemon categories. Nothing could stand against her blindfolded skills. Pokemon Blue, no item underflow, and Pokemon Green Any%. Both world records were beaten by Livy within a few days, and these were already pretty optimized by the blindfolded runner Serpin before. Livy even tried the Pokemon Blue Any% NSC category that I held the world record in for a long period of time in 2019 to 2023. There she got very close to the world record, but did not manage to clutch it out just enough to beat Serpin's time. And the list keeps going. In November, Livy has once more beaten her own world record in A Link to the Past Master Sword with a new PB of 32 minutes, which is an improvement of another 15 whole minutes. And one more thing that I have forgotten to mention. Levi was also working on some Donkey Kong Country 2 single world speedruns and also fully routed Yoshi's Island blindfolded over the entire year. She has done multiple single world speedruns in order to hopefully put it all together in one big any % world record soon. But yeah, I think you can see why I chose her for Blindfolded Speedrun of the Year. So much creativity in finding new strategies, so many different kinds of games and genres, non-stop grinding, improving and practicing blindfolded runs, and overall just an amazing person. My other nomination for Blindfolded Speedrunner of the Year is Hamid Scorpion. Hamid is well known in the blindfolded speedrunning community, as he specializes in blindfolding the famously difficult Souls series for a few years now. And in 2024, Hamid once again went on a rampage. It all started at the end of last year, December 2023, when new discoveries made it potentially possible to beat Elden Ring blindfolded in under 1 hour. Since then, from January until April 2024, Hamid kept lowering his times all the way to a stunning world record of 44 minutes and 51 seconds. This is a huge improvement for a run of this difficulty, and it was made possible by multiple runners like Panic, who worked relentless on the route, Just Blind, who started pushing the boundaries with the new strats, and finally Hamid, who grinded the hell out of this game to achieve such amazing times. With that, he was not done with blindfolded speedruns though, as he soon after in May picked up a run that I have developed myself in the beginning of this year, Blindfolded Dark Souls 1. I routed the entire thing, but only ever the 2 runs of it, because of time issues and its immense difficulty. But Hamid is simply built differently. He learned the route extremely fast and incorporated own and unique approaches and strategies for many places. And then, after being punished by the game left and right, he finally got a run past all the madness and RNG, and he beat my world record by 2 whole hours with a final time of 2 hours and 25 minutes. Knowing the difficulty of this run myself, I have such a huge respect for this. And that was just around the time that the legendary new Elden Ring DLC released, with its incredibly difficult boss fights. So of course, our Elden Ring champ returned, and only a few days after the release of the DLC, performed a showcase of killing every single boss of the DLC, blindfolded. He compiled it all in one video on his YouTube channel, and some of these fights, like Mesmer, are so incredibly impressive that I was just watching it awestruck and could not believe my eyes. I highly recommend you check it out, it is an incredibly awesome showcase to watch. And very similar to the Elden Ring DLC, Hamid did the same kind of boss fight challenge with the newly released Black Myth Wukong. This game features a lot of bosses, 91 to be precise, and after his initial playthrough, Hamid took them down one by one until not a single one was left standing. Hamid really got into the liking of killing hard bosses blindfolded, so he also tackled the Souls-like and fan-favorite Lies of Pi, where he did yet another showcase of killing every single boss while blindfolded. And then, completely out of nowhere, he did what nobody was expecting. Probably the hardest out of all Souls games. Truly a game so gruesome that even casuals shiver upon hearing its name. Minecraft. Yes, Hamid switched genres for a bit and decided to try something completely new with a set-seat blindfolded category in the popular game Minecraft. The world record at the time was 21 minutes and 49 seconds by Jenna, and Hamid came, barged into the blindfolded Minecraft community, and boom! After a few days, the world record was lowered by 7 whole minutes, a true display of his blindfolded expertise. He also quickly derusted his blindfolded Sekiro skills. Yes, he is also the world record holder for this game, to showcase it at various marathons in a live setting, which is very impressive. And just to finish it off with a bang, at the end of the year, Hamid also decided to up his Elden Ring challenges one more time and went on a hunt to kill all bosses with a Guitar Hero controller. A freaking Guitar Hero controller, blindfolded. I don't think I need to explain much more to you about this, just look at this. This is peak blindfolded speedrunning right here. Number 5. Celeste ARP by Leadkite. There is one final run I want to talk about, which is another personal favorite of mine as well. I'm talking about Blindfolded Celeste. Now, Celeste is such a popular speed game. It has amazing platforming, it is super fast paced, it has respawn mechanics in each room, awesome level and sound design. It kind of makes sense to run it blindfolded, right? Well, yes. In the past there have been a few completions of the Any Percent run by Cartoon24 and Saver, but then someone came who really changed the blindfolded speedruns of this game forever. Let me introduce LeadKite. Now, you know, LeadKite is really good at Celeste, and as it was always the case, blindfolded speedrunners often lack the expertise and experience that visual players of the game have. And LeadKite definitely showed this to an extreme, by not only being immensely talented in visual Celeste, but also by becoming insanely good at blindfolded. And the fun thing is, she was not even aiming for any percent. The run that I want to showcase here is the all red berries category. That means not only doing any percent, but also getting all the optional collectibles. These little red berries everywhere that can give you a really hard time when you play it casually. It also adds a whole new chapter at the end of the game that you need to finish. Even in blindfolded any percent, you need to memorize what feels like 1 billion different rooms. In all red berries, you casually need to double or triple the amount of memorization needed. And all the added collectibles are made to be even more challenging than the base game. So it's not only a step in difficulty because of memorization, but also because of the more difficult execution. And yeah, LeadKite absolutely killed it. After only a few attempts, LeadKite achieved a time of 2 hours and 35 minutes, including every single berry in the game. And of course, it would be a shame to leave it at that, so LeadKite also decided to give any percent a try, and after only 2 finished runs, her currently standing world record is already a 1 hour and 9 minutes, which is 8 minutes faster than the previous world record by Saver. Now, in the later parts of this year, LeadKite and the rest of the blindfolded Celeste community that has really started to flourish in 2024 have started to do more and more golden berry challenges, meaning doing a whole chapter damageless. And I believe LeadKite is also in the process of really optimizing the individual chapter times for an even better any percent run potentially in the near future. I'm really excited to see where this goes. I even had the honor to talk to LeadKite personally about her achievements, because I wanted to work on a more in-detail video about the blindfolded history of Celeste, so keep an eye on that in the near future. So yeah, these were some of my favorite blindfolded speedruns this year. I really hope you enjoyed this little showcase of our community, and I also hope that we will all achieve even greater things next year. My big dream is to make our little community a bit more well known in the general public, because I believe that all of these runners deserve so much more attention than they currently get. The amount of work and creativity that goes into these runs is incomprehensible, as you can probably notice yourself by just watching these highlights here. Do me a favor and check your favorite runners out on their channels and give them some love. I can guarantee you they 100% deserve it. I will have all the links in the description. I wish I could have included even more blindfolded runners and runs that have been achieved this year, but as I said, this was just kind of a little personal favorite list of mine. If you want to see more blindfolded runs of all kinds of games, check out our community website over at blindfoldedgaming.com and leave a sub here at my channel, as I will continue to produce more content about blindfolded speedrunning. Thank you so much for watching. Huge shoutouts to my patrons who sponsored this video: Bob Farrell, Bandits, Bodis, Zeeksmany, King Roops and Sarah, and I wish you all a wonderful 2025. See you soon. Bye bye.